Okay, welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to be taking a really close look at a book, a productivity classic I think a lot of you might have already heard of. And if not, you'll definitely find it really helpful.
Yeah.
It's called 21 Great Ways to Stop Procrastinating and Get More Done in Less Time, which most people just know as Eat That Frog.
Eat that frog.
Yeah. So we've been, going through all these techniques from the book and really kind of trying to pull out the most valuable insights that we think will actually help you guys, change how you approach all the stuff you got to get done each day and hopefully help you feel a little bit less overwhelmed all the time.
It's not about packing even more into your day, right? It's about being smarter with your time and energy, making sure you're really focusing on the stuff that actually makes a difference for you.
Right.
And this book, it's got a ton of practical advice and tips.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to be talking about today, the things that can really make a difference in your everyday life.
Okay, so I think we should just jump right into this core metaphor of the whole thing, right? Eating the frog.
Right.
Now, I know for those of you who haven't heard this before, you're probably thinking, wait, what?
Yeah.
We're not actually telling you to go eat a frog
No.
for breakfast or anything like that.
Not at all.
The frog here is like a symbol, right?
It represents
that one task you have.
It is.
That's probably the most important.
Yeah, the one.
But also the one you're probably
most
dreading the most. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're most likely to just keep putting it off.
Absolutely.
And the whole idea, and it's so simple, but the idea is to just do that task first thing in the morning.
Tackle it.
Get it out of the way.
Get it done.
Yeah.
From a psychological point of view, it's really interesting because it kind of has this domino effect.
Yeah.
When you confront that difficult task first thing,
right,
you not only get it out of the way, which is such a relief mentally.
Right. It's like a weight off your shoulders.
It is. It is. But you also get this incredible sense of momentum and accomplishment that powers you through the rest of your day.
It's almost like you strategically make yourself uncomfortable at the beginning of the day.
Front load the discomfort
for
maximum gain later on.
So there's this rule that goes along with this, the ugly frog rule.
Uh-huh.
So think about it like you've got not just one difficult task, but like a whole bunch of them.
Like a swamp full of frogs.
Yeah, like a whole swamp of frogs.
Yeah.
And you got to pick the biggest, ugliest one.
The biggest, the hardest.
Yeah.
The one you want to do the least.
The one you're going to put off the longest.
And just get it done. Like no easing into your day.
Absolutely.
Just go straight for the hard stuff.
Straight for it.
Yeah.
It's about taking action on what really matters.
Right.
And not stopping until it's finished. Have you ever found yourself like looking at your list of things to do and picking the easier thing first?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Just to feel like you're getting things done.
It's so tempting to go for the quick wins.
Yeah.
But that's what this ugly frog rule is all about, resisting that temptation.
Yeah.
Those easier tasks, they can make you feel productive, sure.
Right.
But they don't really contribute much to your overall goals.
Yeah. Right.
The real progress comes from conquering those big challenges.
Right. The stuff that you'd usually avoid.
Exactly.
And this isn't just about, doing this once and then going back to your old ways, right?
Right.
The book makes a really big point about...
It's about building habits.
Yeah, habits.
Yeah.
Being productive is like a skill.
It is.
You have to develop.
Like a muscle you have to train.
Yeah.
The more you practice these things.
Yeah.
Prioritizing, overcoming procrastination, focusing on that top task.
Right.
The better you get at them.
It becomes easier over time, right?
Absolutely. It becomes almost automatic.
Yeah.
It's like it becomes part of your natural workflow.
Yeah.
And that's when you really start to see a real difference.
Right. It's not just a one-time thing.
Yeah. Consistency is key.
Okay. So the book talks about these 3 Ds for habit formation, right?
Yes.
Decision, discipline, and determination.
That's it.
Can you talk a little bit about what each one means and why they're so important?
Sure. So decision, that's that initial commitment you make.
Okay.
You decide, I'm going to tackle that frog.
Right.
No matter how much I don't want to.
Even if it seems really scary and overwhelming.
Even if it's big and ugly and scary.
Yeah.
And then discipline, that's the follow through, right?
Yeah.
It's actually making yourself do the thing.
Right. Even when you don't really want to.
Even when you'd rather be doing something else.
Right.
And then determination, that's the staying power, right?
Yeah.
It's that ability to keep going even when things get tough.
When you hit roadblocks and stuff.
Exactly. When you feel like giving up.
Yeah.
determination keeps you going.
And these three things work together.
They do. They feed into each other.
Yeah.
It's a cycle that helps you build those good habits.
So now let's talk about something else that's really important in the book, right?
Mm-hmm.
This idea of having written goals and plans.
Yeah, it's not enough to just have some vague idea of what you want to achieve.
Right.
You got to write it down.
Writing it down, that seems like such a simple thing.
It is, but it's powerful.
But it really does something, right?
It really does.
It makes you think more clearly about your goals.
It does.
It motivates you. It forces you to take action.
It's like it brings your goals to life.
Yeah.
When they're just in your head, they're kind of fuzzy.
Yeah, they're just kind of floating around up there.
Exactly.
And the book describes written goals as like fuel in the furnace of achievement.
I love that analogy.
I know, it's a good one.
It's so vivid.
Okay, so the book actually gives this really specific 6-step method for setting goals. So let's walk through that for you guys.
Okay.
Step 1, and this might seem too simple, but it's to write down your top 10 goals.
Just get them out of your head and onto paper.
Yeah, like don't worry about editing or anything at this point.
Nope, just brained up.
Just get it all out.
Exactly.
Now, step 2 is where you start to prioritize.
Right.
So you look at this list of 10 goals.
Yeah.
And you pick the one goal that if you achieved, it would have like the biggest positive impact on your life.
The one that would change things the most.
Yeah. And then you write that goal down separately.
So you're really focusing in on what matters most.
Yeah, you got to be ruthless here.
Hey, ruthless.
Okay. Step 3, this is really important. It's to set a deadline for that goal.
Right.
And you can even break it down into smaller sub-deadlines if it makes sense.
Right. Yeah, that could be helpful for big goals.
The book says a goal without a deadline is just a wish.
It is?
Right. It's like you're not really serious about it.
It's just floating around in the ether. A deadline gives you something to aim for.
Makes it real.
And it creates a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
Which is crucial because that helps you fight off procrastination.
Okay, step 4. This is where you get into the details.
Right.
You got to make a list of everything you need to do to achieve that goal.
So you're basically creating a roadmap.
Yeah, like a step-by-step plan.
Breaking down that big, scary goal into smaller, manageable steps.
Yeah, and that makes it seem less overwhelming, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, step 5. Now you take that list and you organize it into a real plan.
Right.
You prioritize the tasks. You figure out what order they need to be done in.
You put it all in a logical sequence.
Yeah, and the book suggests even using visual tools like diagrams, which I'm a big fan of.
Me too. It can be really helpful to visualize the whole plan.
It's like having a blueprint for your goal.
Exactly.
Okay, and then the final step, step 6.
This is the action step?
Yeah, it's time to actually start doing stuff.
And no more planning, no more procrastinating.
Got to take that first step.
And the book makes a really good point here.
What's that?
Even a mediocre plan that you actually execute
is
way better than a brilliant plan that you never start.
It's so true.
So get started, take action.
And then there's this kind of bonus step, right?
Yes.
This idea of doing something every single day.
Every single day.
That moves you towards that big goal you picked out.
It doesn't have to be a huge thing.
Right, just something.
Just a little bit of progress every day.
Consistency is key.
It really is.
And I think that whole exercise of picking that one most important goal that could be so powerful for people.
I think so too.
It's like it forces you to really think about what matters most to you.
And to focus your energy on that one thing.
Right, instead of trying to do a million things at once.
Exactly.
And then another big theme in the book is planning your day in advance.
Right.
And this isn't about scheduling every minute of your day. It's more about being intentional with your time.
It's about taking control of your day.
Yeah, before it controls you. Exactly. And the book actually says planning is bringing the future into the present so that you can do something about it now.
I love that quote.
It's so good, right?
Yeah.
And it also talks about how every minute you spend planning can save you up to 10 minutes in execution.
It's huge.
Right.
Like seriously, if you spend just 10 to 12 minutes planning your day, you could save yourself 2 hours of wasted time later on.
And it gives you this system of using 3 different kinds of lists.
Okay.
You got your daily list, which is for all the stuff you got to do today.
Right.
Then you got your weekly list, which is for stuff you got to do that week.
Which you plan in advance, right?
Yeah. And then you got your monthly list.
For the bigger picture stuff.
Yeah, for those big goals and objectives.
And the key is to constantly be moving things from those longer term lists onto your daily list.
So they actually become action steps.
Exactly.
And there's something really satisfying about checking things off your list, right?
Oh, absolutely.
It gives you a sense of accomplishment.
And it motivates you to keep going.
Yeah, it's like you're making progress.
You're moving forward.
And when you're tackling a really big project, The book talks about the importance of really planning that out in detail.
Absolutely.
You got to list out every single step.
From start to finish.
Yeah.
And then you organize those steps by priority and sequence.
So you know what to do first.
And then, again, it can be really helpful to visualize the whole thing.
Yeah, like create a flowchart or a diagram.
Whatever works for you.
The point is to break down that big project into smaller, more manageable chunks.
Yeah, exactly. And that makes it way less daunting.
Makes it easier to actually get started.
Right.
And all this talk about planning
Yeah.
brings us to this really important principle in the book, the 10-90 rule.
I love this rule.
What is it?
So the 10-90 rule basically says that spending 10% of your time planning and organizing your work before you start can save you 90% of the time it would normally take you to do the job.
That's amazing.
It is. It's all about that upfront preparation.
It's counterintuitive, right?
It is.
Because you just want to jump in and start doing stuff.
Especially when you're feeling the pressure.
Yeah.
But taking that little bit of time to think things through and plan can make a huge difference in the long run.
It's about working smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
Okay, so another concept from the book that I think is really valuable is the 80-20 rule.
Also known as the Pareto principle.
Yeah, and this might sound kind of like, businessy, but it's actually incredibly relevant to,
to everyday life.
Yeah, your daily productivity.
So this principle basically says that 80% of your results come from just 20% of your efforts.
Okay.
It's kind of wild how often this applies to things.
Yeah.
And it definitely applies to work.
So the key takeaway for us is what?
It means that a small fraction of what you do probably accounts for most of the value you create.
If you think about like your last week at work,
right?
What were those 1 or 2 tasks that really moved the needle?
Exactly. Those are probably your vital 20%.
And then the challenge is to figure out how to spend more time on that kind of stuff.
Right.
And less time on all the other stuff that doesn't really matter.
Exactly. Learn to say no to those tasks.
So if you have a to-do list with 10 things on it, 2 of those things are probably way more important.
Way more important.
Than the other 8 combined.
And those are the frogs you got to eat first.
Right.
Absolutely.
And the book says that a lot of people procrastinate on those most important tasks.
It's true.
And instead, they just keep themselves busy with all the little things.
The trivial many.
Yeah.
That don't really contribute much to their overall goals.
And it's so easy to do that, right?
It is. It's easy to fall into that trap.
Because it feels good to check things off your list.
It does.
Even if these things aren't really that important.
Yeah, you can feel busy and productive.
Yeah.
But you're not actually making any real progress on what matters.
And the book makes this distinction between focusing on your activities versus focusing on accomplishments.
It's a crucial difference.
You can be busy all day and feel like you got a lot done.
But if you're not focused on the right things, you're not actually achieving your goals.
And it's so easy to get caught up in that, right?
It is. It's a common trap.
So the real question is...
Are you working on the stuff that really moves the needle?
Yeah. Are you working on those 20% tasks?
Always.
Because they're going to have the biggest impact?
And the book even says that you should refuse to work on those less important tasks.
The 80%.
Yeah, until you finish the vital 20%.
It's almost like you have to give yourself permission.
You do.
To focus on the important stuff.
And to let go of the rest.
And there's something so motivating about knowing that you're working on those important tasks.
Absolutely. It's a different kind of motivation.
Yeah, it's not just about checking things off a list.
It's about making a real difference.
And there's a real sense of accomplishment.
There is.
That comes from finishing those tough tasks.
It's like you've climbed a mountain.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
And it gives you the energy and motivation to keep going.
So the book also talks about how important it is to think long term.
Right.
Like, how does having a clear vision of your future goals affect what you do today?
It's huge. Having that long-term vision.
Yeah.
It's like a compass that guides your day-to-day decisions.
Okay.
Successful people, they tend to think several years ahead.
Right.
And they base their present actions on how those actions will help them reach their future goals.
So they're constantly thinking about
the big picture.
Yeah.
The long game.
And the book actually says future intent influences and often determines present actions.
I love that. It's so true.
It's a really powerful idea, right?
It is.
So it's about making those choices today that are going to get you where you want to be in the future. Even if those choices mean delaying gratification in the short term.
Right.
It's about sacrificing a little bit of pleasure now for a lot more happiness later.
Exactly. That's what successful people do.
And then there's this thing called the law of forced efficiency.
Okay.
Can you explain what that is?
Sure. So the law of forced efficiency basically says that you always find a way to get the important things done.
Right.
When you absolutely have to.
Like when there's a deadline looming.
Exactly. Or when the consequences of not doing it are really high.
Yeah, it's like we all have this hidden reserve of productivity that we can tap into when we're under pressure.
But the book also cautions against relying on that too much.
Right. Like it's not a sustainable strategy.
No, it's not.
You don't want to be constantly working under pressure.
It's not good for you in the long run.
So the book gives us 3 questions that we should be asking ourselves all the time to help us prioritize.
Hear them.
The first one is, what are my highest value activities?
So you have to figure out what's truly important in your work.
Yeah. And it might involve talking to your boss.
Yeah. Give feedback from your supervisor.
Or your coworkers.
And even your clients or customers.
Yeah, to really understand what makes the biggest difference.
Exactly.
The second question is, what can I, and only I do that, if done exceptionally well, would make a real difference?
That's a great question. It forces you to think about your unique contributions.
Yeah. What are you uniquely qualified to do?
Exactly.
And then the third question is, what is the most valuable use of my time right now?
That's the core of time management right there.
It's all about being present and focused.
And making sure you're working on the right thing at the right time.
Yeah. And to make space for those high-value activities, the book says we need to learn to say no.
Absolutely.
To all the other stuff that's not as important.
It's essential.
Yeah.
You have to protect your time and energy.
It's like saying no to all those distractions that come up.
Exactly. And the book uses this great analogy of a dance card.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if your dance card is full,
you
can't accept any more dances.
You're already booked.
Right.
And it makes another good point.
What's that?
To start something new,
yeah,
you often have to stop doing something old.
It's true. You got to make space.
And then there's this concept of creative procrastination.
Okay.
Which sounds kind of weird.
It does.
But it's actually about making deliberate choices about what not to do.
Right. It's not just about being lazy.
So what is creative procrastination?
It's about consciously choosing to postpone or even completely abandon tasks that aren't that important.
Okay.
So you can free up time and energy for the stuff that really matters.
So it's like strategically choosing to not do certain things.
Exactly.
So you can focus on the things that are going to move you forward.
Right. It's about being intentional with your procrastination.
And to help us prioritize, the book gives us this really handy technique called the ABCDE method.
I love this method. It's so simple but effective.
Yeah. What is it?
So you start by making a list of all the tasks you need to do.
Okay.
And then you go through each task and you give it a letter.
A letter.
Yeah. A is for those must-do tasks.
Okay.
The ones that have serious consequences if you don't do them.
Like really important stuff.
Yeah, like if I don't do this, my world will explode. Kind of stuff. B is for tasks that you should do.
All right.
But the consequences aren't as dire if you don't get to them.
Like, it would be nice to do them, but it's not the end of the world if they don't get done.
Exactly.
Okay.
C is for tasks that would be nice to do, but there are no real consequences if you skip them.
So those are kind of like the low priority things.
Exactly.
Okay, what about D?
D is for tasks that you can delegate to someone else.
Ah, so you don't even have to do those yourself.
Right. Get someone else to do it.
Free up your time.
And then E is for tasks that you should just eliminate completely.
Get rid of them.
Yeah, because they're no longer serving any real purpose. It's about being ruthless with your to-do list.
So if you have multiple A tasks, how do you prioritize those?
You can further prioritize them as A1, A2, and so on.
Okay.
The most important A task being A1.
Got it.
And the key is to focus on your A tasks first.
Okay.
Only move on to the B tasks when you've finished all the A tasks.
So it's like a hierarchy of tasks.
It is. It's a system for making sure you're always working on the most important things.
And that E category, that seems really important these days.
Is.
Because we have so much stuff coming at us all the time.
We do. We're bombarded with information and requests.
And it's so easy to just keep doing the same things.
Even if they're not really important anymore.
So you got to be really honest with yourself about what's actually worth your time.
And what you can let go of.
Okay, so the book also talks about focusing on your key result areas. What are those exactly?
So key result areas, or KRAs, are the specific areas in your job where you're expected to produce results.
It's basically what you're being paid to do.
Exactly. And the book says you should ask yourself, why am I actually on the payroll?
That's a good question.
It is. It helps you get clear on what's expected of you.
And most people have about 5 to 7 key result areas.
Right.
And the book says that your weakest key result area is often what limits your overall effectiveness.
It's like the weakest link in a chain.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how strong you are in other areas.
If you're weak in one key area, it's going to hold you back.
And that can lead to procrastination.
It can, because you might feel less confident in that area.
So you avoid it.
And that just makes the problem worse.
So the book says we need to figure out what our weaknesses are.
Identify those weak spots.
And then make a plan to improve them.
Exactly. Work on those weaknesses.
And the book has this thing called the Great Question, which is, what one skill, if I developed it and performed it in an excellent manner, would have the single greatest positive impact on my career?
That's a powerful question to ask yourself.
It really is.
It helps you focus your development efforts.
And the book also talks about the law of 3, which says that there are usually 3 tasks that account for 90% of your contribution at work.
So if you can master those 3 tasks, you're golden.
So once you've figured out what your most important tasks are, the next step is to prepare thoroughly before you start working on them.
Absolutely. Preparation is key.
So why is that so important?
Because it helps you avoid procrastination.
Oh.
When you have everything you need ready to go, you're more likely to just jump in and start working.
It's like you're removing all those little obstacles.
Exactly. You're clearing the path for action.
And the book uses this analogy of being a cocked gun.
I love that analogy.
I know, it's a good one.
It's so vivid.
So you're like all ready to go.
Ready to fire.
And once you're prepared,
the
book says you got to take that first step right away.
Don't delay.
Launch immediately.
Exactly.
And the book also has this rule. Get it 80% right and then correct it later.
That's a great rule.
Yeah, because it takes the pressure off.
It does. It helps you overcome perfectionism.
So you don't have to get it perfect the first time.
Nope. Just get it started.
And then you can always go back and make it better later.
Exactly.
So we've talked about identifying your most important tasks and preparing for them.
Right.
But what about actually improving your skills?
Yes. Continuous learning.
So you can do those tasks even better.
It's so important.
The book talks about this a lot, right?
It does. It's one of the top productivity principles.
So why is it so important to keep upgrading your skills?
Well, for one thing, it makes you more efficient.
Okay.
The better you are at something, the faster and easier it is to do it.
Right.
But it also boosts your confidence.
And that makes you less likely to procrastinate, right?
Exactly. When you feel confident in your abilities, you're more likely to just tackle those tasks head on.
And the book actually says that one of the main reasons people procrastinate is because they feel inadequate.
It's true. They don't feel like they have the skills to do the job.
So they avoid it.
And the thing is, no matter how good you are at something, your skills can become outdated.
Especially in today's world.
Exactly. Technology is changing so fast.
So you got to keep learning.